Yes, the first car in the new garage is this hoopty, my 1997 Toyota Previa, because it was the moving MVP. I moved into the new house on Saturday, even though it's not even close to finished because it's been raining nonstop here for the last 3 weeks, but at least the steps are done and they poured the pad to where I have air conditioning, but I have no back patio, I have no landscaping, I have no second driveway to go around to the other garage door, but it's finished enough for me to move in. And without this minivan, it would have been really tough. But throughout the entire moving process, there was a little dribble of coolant continuously coming out of this thing. Just a steady drip. I've had to top it off a few times. So we really need to get up to see the wizard and figure out what's going on with my 1997 Previa. For those that didn't see my last video, I bought this Previa for only $2,400. It has 140,000 miles on it, and I think it's the greatest minivan ever made because it's supercharged, mid-engine. I am sitting on the engine and rear-wheel drive. It does burnout. It'll do donuts too, but it's so muddy out here, the wizard would probably kill me if I did donuts again in his field, so I'm not going to do that. But there is one downside that I've discovered thanks to you all in the comments section sending me a video of the crash test of the Previa. Apparently in a partial offset front crash test, the steering column will go flying towards your head and break apart and maybe stab you in the chest, which obviously isn't ideal in a crash situation, but I kind of feel like the crash test dummy was very close to the steering wheel, kind of in the little old lady grandma setup. Meanwhile, I'm in a gangster lean. So I don't think that I would get uppercutted by the steering wheel, but still a little troubling. But then again, if you look at other crash test videos of cars of the era, especially like 90s pickup trucks like the Ford F-150 or the Chevy S10, they're not very good either. So I still think it's the greatest minivan ever made. Maybe not the safest, but still the coolest by far. That's just my opinion, but there's one other opinion that really matters, and that's my mechanic, the car wizard, which we are almost to his lair. We'll get this thing up in the lift, see how weird it is underneath, but hopefully not many problems, and that leak is an easy fix. We'll see. Fingers crossed. Wizard!
Where'd you get this bubble thing? It looks like a bubble.
You've arranged this perfectly for me. We have 3 mid-engined exotic supercars here. Yes.
2, maybe. This is a supercar?
It is well, it has supercar DNA. It is mid-engine, it is supercharged, it is rear-wheel drive. I don't think there's any minivan or anything engineered like this in the world. You'll just have to see. We can put it up in the lift because you can't really see anything. There's nothing here under the hood. Here, take a look under here though. Now, normally you would be freaking out right now because minivans, everything's shoved under there in the dashboard and it's all tight and compacted and you hate working on it. But this one, the engine's back here under the driver's seat.
Oh, I see.
And look at this giant oil tank. Apparently it takes like 8, 9, 10 quarts, but it's not a dry sump engine.
Weird.
But the only issue I'm noticing is a small coolant leak, a pretty steady drip that I've had to top off a couple of times. I've already put about 500 miles on this thing. And other than that, the rear shocks are blown, which I told you to come with some rear shocks to order it for the car, so we can get that done. It's definitely a little creaky and bouncy in the rear. But other than that, it's a Toyota.
It is a cool looking van. It looks like some pretty cool technology under here.
Yeah. Well, underneath, I'm really excited to see underneath this thing because apparently it's far out.
I don't know if I'd ever own a plebeian van.
A Previa. A plebeian van. A Previa.
Okay, whatever they are.
It's a Previa.
Let's put it on the lift.
Okay. Mid-engine rear-wheel drive, not supercharged. Mid-engine rear-wheel drive, supercharged. Mid-engine rear-wheel drive, not supercharged. So the Previa's got something on these two. It really does, Wizard.
Oh, I don't know about all that.
It does.
What does it have?
It has a supercharger.
A supercharger.
160 horsepower, 200 pound-feet of torque.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That has 3 Previa vans worth.
Previa. Previa.
Previa.
Get that into your beard of knowledge. It's a Previa.
Previa. Whatever.
Previa. Mr. Riker set a course for Ryza. Maximum warp. Ryza, that was the pleasure planet in Star Trek.
Okay, well,
You go to Ryza to meet a lady on shore leave.
what in the hell?
Aha! You see.
What? It's got like a drive shaft for like actual, like a drive axle drive shaft.
Yes, it looks just like a drive shaft, except it runs all the accessories. The air conditioner, the supercharger, the alternator, I think the water pump, which maybe that's what's leaking.
This is odd. I've never seen one of these before.
Right.
Never messed with them.
The wizard has armed me with a phaser flashlight. How you doing there, wizard?
Ah!
You getting it?
I can't see with that thing in my
Well,
face.
this is good lighting for a video.
For you, maybe.
We're not sure what that drip is.
I can see the bottom of the reservoir is all wet. I can pressure test it and we can see it'll force it to... Oh, God! I can't see.
What?
It's so bright.
It's good lighting. It's good lighting for you.
Good
So you
lighting.
want to pressure test the reservoir up there, and then...
I tell you what, I'm going to put that where Ryza doesn't shine.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll put it down, then we can keep going. Let's see what else we got.
Okay,
Look at this weirdness.
That is weird.
It's a front drive shaft, except it's not a four-wheel drive.
It looks like a Mercedes BMW coupling.
And it drives these things here.
The accessories.
Which, is that my blower? Right there?
Yeah, right here. And you can check the oil on the blower.
Really?
Here's your AC compressor.
Yeah. And instead of running off the
Alternator.
engine, off a belt, off the crank pulley, or the crank's attached.
I would hate to have all that
Just a
stuff
drive
go
shaft.
bad up there. Ooh. What does this engine look like? It's something's leaking there.
What? I got an engine leak too? Ooh. Yeah, that's oily. And did somebody shove a rag in it?
What's the...
Why would somebody shove a rag in there?
I don't know.
Are they trying to absorb?
You bring me some doozies sometimes, man.
But look at this. Is it a valve cover? I see bolts here on the side.
That looks
What
like...
is it?
This is an oil pan. It's like an engine that's sitting like this, sideways.
Weird. But then there's an oil pan here.
Yeah, this is a crankcase cover. This oil actually sits...
What?
It's like an oil pan on the side of the engine.
Okay.
See, here's the exhaust.
Yeah, the exhaust comes out this side. So it's a slant or flat four?
It'd
Or...
be just like if you took your Aston Martin engine and laid it on its side. That's what they did.
Huh. And it's all oiled that way. So what do you think my oil leak is with all those rags in the way?
I don't know. What the hell? This little cover is leaking that goes behind this shaft. Right there.
The cover behind the shaft. Oh, that's quite milky, juicy. Oh dear. Well, it's an old cheap van, so
Yeah, the expense to fix that, I could try tightening and see if it
helps.
helps. But other than that, I wouldn't mess with that.
Well, the drain plug's normal at least, so we can do an oil change.
Yeah.
Good.
There's more juiciness.
Oh, wait, I spoke too soon on the transmission.
It looks like the O-ring on this little speed sensor is probably leaking.
Oh, no big deal.
No big deal there.
No big deal. And the drive shaft goes and does what drive shafts normally do, which is
This is a beefy drive shaft.
it's big and then a solid rear axle,
Yeah.
which you don't normally see on
This is
minivans.
a weird van. Why did you buy one of these Previa vans?
It's not Previa, Previa.
Whatever it is.
Previa. Previa. Induce a seizure, wizard. Previa, get it in your noggin. Okay, oil change time, right?
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what. It's like the sun is shining in my eyes. Looks like somebody scraped it here.
Oh. Yeah, I've bottomed it out a couple of times. I didn't know it was on the oil pan, though. Oh, dear.
Yeah, you don't want to do that again.
Nope, nope. Okay.
Well, let's drain the old oil out of the Previa van.
All right, got plenty of lighting here. Let me make sure I get this done right. See what's going on with your ear here. Let's look inside. Do a little checkup. They're very clean, actually. I'm surprised.
I shouldn't have given you that light.
That's a very healthy long flow for a 4-cylinder minivan. So how do you drain the oil in this tank?
You don't. There's no drain on it.
So that's just a reservoir?
I don't know. I know nothing about these vans.
Well, there's the oil here under the seat where you can have the dipstick, but I didn't know that's where you put the oil into the engine as well. Oh, yeah.
I'll try not to spill a cord in your carpet for you.
Well, please don't. It's no show car, but yeah.
Oops.
Treat the Previa with care.
Do we want Mobile 1?
This has to be the coolest fuse panel I've ever seen in a car.
What?
Look at that.
It's like you opened someone's skull and looking at their brain.
I guess so. I kind of thought it looked like Star Trek, you know, when they access a hatch and start working on things with all the fuses and relays, but...
You've opened the skull of Lieutenant Commander Data.
Very much so. You're actually right. I was thinking you were going like...
It's his positronic brain.
So this oil change is slightly more of a pain than a normal oil change.
Slightly, it's a huge pain.
But there are some benefits to the Previa.
What's that?
There's no timing belt.
I guess that's a good thing.
Every 90s Toyota had a timing belt. There may be some others that I don't know about, but I can't think of Camry, Corolla, Avalon, even the trucks, I think, back then, right? If they did do a timing belt on this, it would be like a Ferrari. It'd be an exotic engine out service for a timing belt.
Yeah.
So it makes sense for them not to do it.
This got to be the strangest oil change I've ever done in the 17 years I've been working on cars.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
It's a very interesting vehicle, isn't it?
Strange.
It's
sure.
Exotic. Very exotic. Now we need to see. Yes.
I don't think so.
It's exotic. Now we need to see what this exotic leak is here.
Yeah, we need to pressure test that, don't we? Okay, so you can see here that the seam where the two halves come together is leaking. The tank is bad.
So my big melon here, full of coolant, is leaking.
There where the seam comes together is splitting. So I think it just needs a reservoir. Let's go in the office and see if we can get an estimate work for your Previa van here.
Previa. Previa. Yeah, I got your other flashlight. Previa. You know what? You can go work in the office. I'm going to lounge in my Previa. It's a nice chaise lounge back there. When you get the bill figured up, you can just join me back there, okay?
Okay.
All right.
I'll do that.
I'm going to lounge. Oh, yes. The greatest minivan ever.
Captain.
Hello, wizard.
I've
Come join me. Come on the lounge. You have to sit.
Sit?
Please, just sit. Come here, join me.
Sit. That's all I'm doing.
Join me. Hello, wizard.
Okay, I've assessed the damages, and I have some estimates here for you.
Okay.
Your oil change today cost you $100.
$100? Why is $100?
Well, the Mobile 1 oil isn't cheap.
Oh, we put in Mobile 1 in this thing. It is a supercar, so it does need the best oil.
Yeah.
Yes, agree. Okay, agreed. Moving on.
Okay, and then the little fix we did on the transmission was $50.
$50 for 1 minute of your time.
That's half an hour.
Oh my God.
The reservoir, the coolant reservoir, is something I won't be able to help. The only place I can find one is at a dealer. There's $300 just for the reservoir.
$300 for this ball.
Yeah.
That's.
And then by the time I get labor and antifreeze and everything into it, it's going to be $400.
Oh, can't you? It's just a ball with the coolant going in and coolant going out. Can't you wizard something together?
I could probably find one off of another car and make it work.
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, like a Volkswagen Audi had little balls, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just do that, and then it'd be like $100 rather than $4.
And shocks would be about $175, $200 for parts and labor.
Okay.
It would be $350, $400 into it if we do a Volkswagen ball.
Rather than the factory ball?
Yeah, if we do the factory ball, then you're going to be at $1,000.
Oh, well. Well, even with a factory coolant ball, it's the cheapest repair estimate you've ever given me on anything. Ever. So...
That's because it's not a supercar, not a real supercar.
It's a supercar. It's mid-engine supercharged rear-wheel drive. And it's a lounge. Look at this. I'm lounging. Look how relaxed you are right now. Okay, we'll do the shocks. You can wizard up a ball for me. And then I'll get down the road in this thing. The greatest minivan ever made. Bo show.
This is a cool van.
It is cool. Thank you for watching. I think I'm going to take a nap here. Let me pull my lever.
I'm getting out as fast.
Oh, there we go. Ah.